Hey there, everyone. I got a quick question to ask you guys. When you guys are face to face with someone, are you triggered more to get into an argument with someone that you may or may not agree with? Or are you kind of quicker to listen and you want to have a good quality conversation? Today's topic is on the difference between argument versus a conversation and how important it is for us to be able to distinguish both of those things. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode of the Bum Podcast. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Bum Podcast. I'm your host, Nabil, here with my beloved brother, Shamir.
Hello there.
You guys like that new little twist on today's episode? Figured I'd give it a try. Why not?
Yeah, he did great.
Yeah, I did all right.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the ringle dingle dingle. Follow us on all our social platforms. And we thank you, as always, for being a part of our community. Today, like Nabil said on the intro, we're going to be talking about conversation versus arguments. Are you the type of person that is an angry and very
are you guys one of these
Wolverine?
people here?
Yeah. Are you part of the dark side or the light side? Do you guys feel that it's more smarter to have a conversation with the person, maybe give it some time, a few days, a few hours, a few minutes, and then talk?
Now, the audience might be asking, why are you guys talking about this right now? Or how convenient that you guys are bringing up this topic right now. What is it that this topic kind of came up and then we decided, hey, we're going to record this?
Well, we were actually in the whip the other day. Usually our conversations in the car when it's just Nabil and I, it's definitely, we go deep. We go really deep when we're talking and just ideas just pop up. Hey, we should talk about that on the podcast because it's just all relevant to everybody's life. You know, everybody's gone through arguments. Everybody's gone through very productive conversations. And I forgot what we were talking about in the car, honestly.
I remember. It was the fact that I was feeling anxiety the day that they announced who won of the elections and all that stuff. And it wasn't necessarily because of who won, but it was more so because, like, I woke up and I had gotten some sort of notification about social media. So I clicked on it and my God, both my Instagram and Facebook were just bombarded with people furious, upset. Some were celebrating. And it was just like this thing where it was just, I don't know, all that negativity just brushed up on me within a matter of like 5 minutes. Yeah. And I was just like, this is something we need to talk about because, you know, it rocked my day for that day. Like and I was going to work too when I was kind of preparing for this or not for this, but, you know, for work itself. And so when we were talking about it in the car, I think that's how we kind of came up with it. You kind of mentioned the name, and I was just like, yeah, maybe that's what we should talk about because it's perfect time. And I unintentionally wore this shirt today. It was like the first thing I grabbed, and then I'm like, I guess it is the will of the force for me to wear this kind of thing, even though the elections just passed. You can see who I voted for. Oh yeah,
dark side. Best people on the planet in the galaxy, actually.
I do have a light side version, which is and what is it? Kenobi and Skywalker, you're my only hope, something like that.
I like that one too.
I prefer that one.
Yeah, I like the colors more on that one than this one. This one's just like
we got that one at MegaCon, didn't we? Whereas this one we got at Fanboy.
That was at Fanboy, and then the black one that I have of Palpatine and Vader is MegaCon. Yeah.
Which then I got the opposite shirt.
Yeah.
Well, Lou got it for me because it was my birthday.
Yeah. Shout out to Lou. Love you, dog.
Yes.
But yeah, so there's multiple ways and factors to go about this topic today. Nabil, as always, don't you have something there?
Gotta have the definitions. That way you guys know what is and what ain't is. So argue. Right? The definition essentially is give reasons or cite evidence in support of an idea, action, or theory, typically with the aim of persuading others to share one's view. Or number 2 of that, exchange or express diverging or opposite views, typically in a heated or angry way. So there's argument. And then speaking or having a conversation, a talk, especially in an informal one between 2 or more people in which news and ideas are exchanged. Okay,
It's good stuff. I have one here too that's kind of just like very basic. It's actually an overview of AI, but it's just very basic. It's straight to the point. It says the main difference between talking and arguing is that talking is a respectful exchange of information, while arguing is a coercive attempt to be right. Listen, there's a time in my life where I felt like I knew too much. Not that I knew it all, but I knew too much.
So you were a know-it-all, but you didn't consider yourself a know-it-all.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we've all
definitely Dunning-Kruger effect for sure. Yeah. I feel like the overestimation of knowing all, and then life humbles you, and then you start to understand that you don't know it all. But the good thing about life is that we get to learn on a daily basis, and I think
if we're willing to,
that's what yes, for sure. That's what I love about this platform is that little grain of sand or salt that we give to you guys on a daily basis, we also learn from you guys and from our personal experiences on a daily basis. And literally, when I got out the car that day that I was talking to Bill, I literally said, that I'm in a time in my life where I've come to understand that conversations are way more important and talking in a calm manner, in a calm mindset than being aggressive and arguing. I feel like argument only just it's gas to the fire, and we get nowhere, especially 100%. To the point where like you start hurting people's feelings and that right there is derailing the main reason you guys got into the argument in the first place. Yeah. Because then now you start adding on other things that maybe have pissed you off about them. Yeah. You're just why did I even bring that up in this conversation? Yeah. It doesn't help at all for us to move forward from whatever it is that triggered this. I was talking to mom earlier, and I was telling her how the feeling, and it might sound that I'm getting off topic real quick, but it's relevant because I was like, when I didn't have a feeling of anything back in the day, in my past, and I asked God in my prison cell, like, hey, please give me the feeling and empathy towards people again, that feeling of seeing somebody cry or somebody hurt and understanding them as opposed to like you feeling why why is this person crying, or like look at this moron, look at this stupid person, and then as my son was sick this week, I started to cry, and I'm like, man, like this is my little buddy, that man, that's me right there. You know what I'm saying? That's it's my son, and it's just like I'm like, Lord, when I asked you for something, I only asked you for that, but God gave me an abundance of feeling, right? So when I was talking to Mom, I was like, man, like, I'm so sorry for being such a shitty son at times in life. And she's like, it's not that. And I'm like, you know what? It is that, because I have to accept as a person when I've been a bad person, when I've been a terrible human being, and how I've been able to fix it through my good actions. Graduation's coming up now in December. That's a blessing and a half. Like, what parent wouldn't want to see their kid, whether if it's college or bro, being
how many people can you take to that?
Oh, that one's an unlimited amount of people. Like, yeah, we're good. So
he's going to graduate.
Yes. It's an associate's degree for now, but we're definitely going to keep
progress. Going for more. 2 years of hustle.
Nonstop, no summer vacation, true. None of that. We went through.
You would have like a week or two off, maybe.
That's it. Yeah, whatever in between the terms. But other than that, we would have kept
That's
going.
Because you had to, yeah.
Yes. So, but I have the trailblazer mentality where it's like, let's just get through it. And then, let the calm after the storm appear afterwards. Yeah. So, but what I'm trying to say is that when I used to argue with my parents a lot, I used to, go against their will and their words, especially while I was living under their household at the time. And, I look back at it, and it's just that understanding of life. Like, God gave me the opportunity not to only be alive and to go through prison, get out of prison and all these things, but he also, and while I was in the streets to not die, but also the opportunity to not just be a parent, but to have the opportunity to prove that I can be a good person, that I can change, that I can move forward from everything. Right. And especially one of those things is like, the arguing and the like our last argument was months ago, but it was like and I got very rowdy. You know, I got very aggressive with you. You know what I'm saying? But one of the main things was I wrong, yes, for being aggressive and saying things out of hand, but there were certain things that I said out of truly the love that I have for you to better yourself and to progress together. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you also listened, because when I told you, hey, you're stepping out of line, like if this isn't going to go anywhere, we're going to talk later because I'm not having this now.
Right.
And eventually you settled down. You were passionate, and you had to say some things that needed to be said so that we can, like you said, move forward and progress and in this podcast and other things. So in that regard, there was some growth there because you weren't just arguing the entire freaking time.
Right.
You eventually calmed down, and then the next day you apologized about it too. So
right.
I think the intention for all of you listening or even watching here on YouTube, the whole purpose of this episode today, is to distinguish the differences, and we've all been there. And so
for sure,
you got to make a decision from now going forward where you kind of want to stand. Are you going to be the hothead, or are you going to be the one that's level-headed?
Yeah.
And there's a Bible quote that says we need to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. That's something that I try to live off of every single day. Mm-hmm. That's words of wisdom right there, because what that does is we allow to assess the situation at hand. We have the opportunity to be in control of what's going on, how we're receiving it, and then what are we going to do about it. And a lot of times we act out of impulse. Yeah. And I'm speaking for myself. I act out of impulse. So if like you're in my face, not necessarily you, but anybody, if somebody's in my face and they're coming at me and they're cussing at me and they're pointing and all that stuff, you're triggering me huge because you're in my space. That's one thing that just, it triggers me like it's nobody's business. You are in my space. Yeah. And now I really have a problem with you.
Yeah, you feel some type of way.
Yes. The smart way to assess this whole thing, or even, go about it, is me stepping back.
Right.
Listening to what that person has to say, and then be like, are you done? Mm-hmm. Can we talk about this? Are we going to be able to get anywhere? If not, like you said earlier in the intro, do we need to let this, pass a couple of days or a week or so in order for then we can come back together and talk about it and be like, listen, I'm really sorry. The reason I was in your face was because of X, Y, and Z, and I'm just trying to get this point across to you because you don't listen. And I've told you these things before, and you just still, you don't change. So what are we going to do? Or again, there's always consequences whether you do one thing or the other. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to think that if you can have a conversation rather than an argument, you're always going to know what that other person, where they're coming from. Right. And then you can actually, with a level-headed mind, you can put yourself in their shoes and be like, well, you know what? What they were telling me, I get it now. Maybe I have been lazy, or maybe I haven't taken action, or maybe, they're telling me this because they're sick and tired of me saying that I'm just ignorant the entire time. And they want me to actually be more mature, more wise, and more prepared for whatever's next. Those are the kind of people we want to be here on the Bump Podcast. We want to be people that we can grow, be better, be more mature, more experienced. Yeah. And that includes those of you guys who are watching and listening to us and commenting on our social medias and all that stuff. We want to be able to learn from the things you guys experienced based off of the information we give you guys. We don't want to just stay in the same place. We also don't want to get into arguments. Once or twice we've gotten some comments where just like, we're not even giving you the time of day because you're not even listening to our entire episode
for sure
of what we're saying. Mm-hmm. You're just wasting your time instead of having like a civil conversation with us or asking us, well, why did you say this? Or why did you say that?
Yeah. It's crazy because I look constantly at the YouTube statistics. I always get the notification of it on my phone. And I look at the videos that have like it's mostly the reels. Like our actual podcast has like good thumbs up, and like our percentage right now is like, I think it's like 92-93% is all thumbs up on the main videos. Mm-hmm. But we have a lot of thumbs down on the reels, like the very short reels. But then when I look at them and I see the topics that we were talking about in those reels or that topic of that episode, it's usually the very touchy subjects that
of
are
course.
strong nowadays, like whether if it's politics, whether it's self-betterment, mental health, those things like that. Those are the things that like trigger people. So when they hear just that one little thing in that quick
just
1 minute
saying mental
reel,
health.
Oh my, yeah, literally. Honestly, that's one.
When we tried to get a particular guest on, what triggered them right away to say no? Mental health.
Yeah,
right away.
Sadly,
they just said no,
and it was a person that I was, man. I'm not gonna mention it.
No, there's no point in mentioning who that person was. Dude. But as soon as he mentioned mental health, they were just like, nope.
They blocked me. This person blocked me off strong. Like it was I thought the person was saying no, like
sarcastically or jokingly,
but looked at me like straight in the eye. After a moment, I was like, whoa. This guy's actually, and then it's crazy because then we brought our cousin to the first convention ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
he had a great old time.
He had a great time, but I'm just like, bro, this is not a convention. Wait until you go to like a main convention. I wanted to say something. It was a quote that Manuel, my friend, sent me. He's a personal trainer in Puerto Rico, but I'm going to translate it to English to the best of my abilities. It literally says, when a person aligns themselves with their own purpose. So okay, when you align yourself with your own purpose, everything flows. And
elaborate on that more. Though.
I want to elaborate because honestly, we were talking about. He posted a post this morning. I'm gonna show you. It literally says everything comes to you
at the right time.
Right. And I was like, thank you for always having the motivation to motivate others. Huge hug.
Yeah.
Right. And then he literally just wrote that.
Oh, I like that.
The reason why I want to add to this is, having control in a conversation or showing control to people when like an argument or somebody wants to come at you in an aggressive manner, and you are able to show them that. Because when an aggressive person, this is my analogy on this, when an aggressive person comes to you, their mind is already automatically thinking this person is going to come back at me, so this is how we're going to light this up. Yeah. But when you show that you have control in a conversation, they get surprised. They're like, whoa, but this person's not reacting in an aggressive manner like I am. Like, what's going on here? So they get startled. They're just like, they act in a different manner, right? And I've come to understand that in the midst of arguments, in the midst of conversations, we have to grow and understand that everything that happens in our life is for a reason and a purpose, and our purpose as individuals, right?
Yeah.
And everything comes in due time. So there will be moments where you're just like, where did this argument come from? Because there's times that I was just like, bro, like this was a chill day. Everything's gone well. And out of nowhere, this person, like whether if it's a loved one, close friend or whatever, and an argument just popped off and you're like,
what I miss?
What went wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like that time with the car seat of mom and dad's house. Like everything was perfectly fine. Nothing had happened. I think we even podcast that day and everything.
Yeah, we did actually
when we first had the podcast over there. And it literally just the argument just popped off. I'm like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? I literally wanted to start with this, but then I snapped too. I snapped, you realized like real quick. I was just like, but like, whoa,
you snapped at who?
I snapped at dad because of the car seat, because it was improperly placed, and if anything would have happened, I would have, you know what I'm saying? They would have been liable for it, and I felt some type of way about it. So that's probably why I went off, because it's just like, it's my son. A lot of things I'll let slide because it's about me. But when it's like my son or my girlfriend or my home, all these things, or my family in general, I get offense to it.
Yeah, of course.
What I'm trying to say is that all these things that come out of nowhere, you're just like, but why'd this happen? Well, there's a reason for it. So we have to understand that we have to align ourselves with the reality of our lives and be like, we have to mature from these arguments and even just conversations, because conversations will help you understand everybody else's point of view towards the situation or towards you. And also, you give the understanding to people of how your point of view is towards life. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And I think that, like I've always said in all our podcasts, that there's always there's always a positive in each negative that occurs in our lives.
1000%.
That's kind of just what I wanted to bring on the positivity portion, because, you know, we shouldn't be aggressive like people want us to be. Does that make sense? Especially nowadays.
That's what a lot of people expect it too.
Yeah, nowadays it's just
and so when we expect that we're going to be aggressive towards the person we're being aggressive to, in the back of my mind we're already planning like what scenario is going to happen. But again, it throws you off when all of a sudden you're just like, oh, they're not reacting the way I thought they would. Then that's when you see that everybody kind of simmers down and they kind of, okay, well, I'm sorry I yelled at you, but I just wanted you to understand where I'm coming from.
right.
And that's always interesting. That's when you should feel proud of yourself and pat yourself on the back, because, you know, you were able to stay in control. Sometimes we can't too, because sometimes we fall into that argument because we're tired, we're hungry, we have a headache.
You know what's another one too, and I've come to recognize this in the recent months. I already set a standard of society. So if I go to like the store, the mall, wherever, it's gotten to the point that like I just like, there's gonna be that one stupid person that's gonna be out of hand. There's gonna be that person that doesn't,
and it's like from the parking lot all the way till you're inside and out,
you know. So it's just like sometimes I don't want to be like that, because you're kind of like, you know, predetermining your future.
You're setting setting yourself up for
that moment.
And
it's just like, bro, like I don't want to think that way, but it's sad that even if you don't think that way, because I like to be prepared for things just in case they do happen, but like not thinking that way just provokes you to maybe act. I just like to keep my thoughts and my emotions in check, so that's why I think that way. Does that make sense? And that's why I kind of put that standard in that bar within society. You know, like earlier I was in Walmart, and you know, if you go to Walmart, I try not to go there under other, you know, like when it's like regular groceries, I try not to go there, because it's just like you have every freaking animal in society there, sadly, you know, walking on their hooves and just looking for a reason to fight with someone, you know, because there are people that go out there on a regular basis because they're so miserable, they want to make other people miserable, you know, and I don't want to get to that level, and I always want to transmit good energy. But
me personally, like if I'm shopping over there at Walmart, my wife knows this, I always try to go when it's less busy. I'm talking about during the weekdays and, you know, somewhat early mornings.
Yeah, just at the
I'm
good times.
in and I'm out.
Yeah,
I avoid the weekends like a plague. Like I unless it's something where I know I can just still go in and get out.
Right.
Because of that reason, like people are so inconsiderate. So sometimes people will literally just, with their carts and everything, just walk right by you. And even if you have your own car, whatever, they don't care.
Or
nothing.
No morals whatsoever.
Nothing. Or sometimes the people will let their kids just run around. You hit a kid, now somehow it's your fault.
And you get a lawsuit or whatever. Crazy. Yeah.
It's happened to me twice where I almost hit a kid, and I love kids. I mean, they're everything, you know. But imagine just hitting somebody, and, oh my God. And then now they're in your face blaming you. It's like, well, why didn't you watch your kid?
Right.
Why didn't you put them in your car?
That's another thing when it comes to arguments and talking nowadays. I think it's incredible how like people could still be wrong but still want to argue as if they were right nowadays. Like everything is
it's a prideful thing,
backwards, dude. And it's just like, right, but it's exactly that. It's the pride, it's the ego. Like you can't drop yourself and be like, forgive me, I was absolutely wrong. I should have paid attention to my kid, or I should have put him on the seatbelt thing in the cart, or just put him in the cart, or sit him down, or something,
or hold the kid by the hand,
whatever the situation was. Whether if it was by yourself, let's say you passed by someone, you didn't say excuse me. Let's say we were involved on your phone or something. Like, somebody says, "Hey, excuse me." You know what? Forgive me. I should have said excuse me.
I was just distracted, you know, or I was just in thought.
Like, bro, like that also like makes people understand. Like, bro, like you just did what like 99% of people in society don't do. Like you humbled yourself. You know what? It's okay. You know what? You have yourself a good day. And that gives a like internal humble feeling, bro. Like, wow, like I actually just de-escalated a situation that could have went a whole lot worse.
And then it might make you actually feel good and that other person.
This happened one time. We're actually banned, a friend of mine and I from a plaza here nearby because of a liquor store incident that happened, and it almost ended up in a terrible shooting, like bad.
Really? Oh, snap.
So this is
news to me too, people.
Listen, so this is what happened, right? We walk in the liquor store, and the liquor store's aisles are like, dude, like,
super thin, yeah.
Yeah, super thin.
I don't know why they think everybody's skinnier than him.
Well, the Arabs are just trying to maximize profits and fill up the store and just no space.
And this isn't a racist comment with what he just said, by the way, but it's true. Like a lot of the Arabic people, at least in Florida, they're running the liquor stores.
Yeah, that
and the gas stations.
Yeah, the gas stations, dude. But anyways, the thing is that my friend places his hand on the guy's back and says, "Excuse me, brother." The dude says, "Don't touch me."
Oh.
Right? And that's where it starts. He's like, "What do you mean don't touch you?" He's like, "No, don't touch me, man." It just started getting rowdy. And I'm like, this dude doesn't even have a body to defend himself. That was the first thing. But long story short, I was just like, dude, just like, don't worry about it. Like, let's go get our stuff and let's roll. And the guy's just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You can't be touching me like that. Da, 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 da. He kept on going and getting rowdy. So then I see he walks out. We're in line to buy the liquor. We get our liquor. And as we're walking out, he's got like two bandits with freaking hoodies on that you can't even see their faces. And they're just like posted up waiting for us outside. And he's like, "What's up now? What's going on? You want to keep touching me?"
All that just for him saying, "Excuse me?"
All right. So check this out, ladies and gentlemen. So we get to I'm like, "Bro, listen, there ain't no smoke." So then my friend is like, literally like, dude, he's just going back and forth with the dude. He's like, "Bro, I was just literally saying, excuse me, you're over here getting some type of way for that, dude." So they go back and forth, and the dude just posts up by his car. He opens his door, posts up by his car, but you see he's grabbing something. Mm-hmm. And at the time, we only had like two guns. It was like a 38 special and a 40 millimeter Glock. That's all we had. I was just like, bro, like, this is what's in my mind at the time. I'm like, if we bang it out right now, these guys are gonna kill us. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly,
they were well armed and you weren't.
And it's not that they're well armed. I just feel like, okay, there's three of them, two of us, and we only got a clip each right here. I mean, the 38's only 6-7 bullets, and then this here is freaking. I got probably 20 bullets to the name, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I better make it happen. So I was like,
and you guys aren't bad boys like Martin Lawrence and Will Smith.
Right,
so.
we're not one shot and it's straight in between the eyebrows, you know? So usually we'd be armed, like very armed. Like the whip was, yes, it was an arsenal. But since that was not the moment at the time, because we literally went to the liquor store and went back to the house. Like, we were not hanging out that night, none of that. So, like, we weren't rolling like that. My friend's just like, we should bang it out right now. And I'm like, dude, we ain't got the power right now. Mm-hmm. I'm like, just let it go. So I just drove off and took the long way out the parking lot, and I just disappeared. But long story short, ladies and gentlemen, is this. It's out there like that, and this was back in like 2016.
I think you did tell me this story.
Know what I'm saying? Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, we've had altercations that have been way worse than that. You know, that have escalated into.
See, and then that's the problem, right? So that one story right there just kind of like. It shows you where we're at in the world in terms of like you can't even touch somebody saying "excuse me" using your manners. Like, people are so sensitive about just being touched lightly. Like, it's not like yo move or anything like that. Like,
I'm gonna call him this week when we're on the phone, and it's, so he could tell you the story. He's gonna be like, dude, that's exactly right what he said. There's nothing wrong there. I mean, and then after that, when we went back to the liquor store that day, he's like, bro, I don't want you guys here. Cause
the owner said that.
Yeah, he's like, you guys gotta get out of here. Like, I don't want your business because you guys are just. I'm like, we literally said excuse me, but it's okay. Like, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? So we never went back, but yeah, dude.
There you have it, everybody. That's the news channel of the week.
You could be the most chillest person sometimes. That's why you have to have control, because nowadays you see so many altercations and things happening, whether if it's family members, whether it's just unknown people out on the street. There's no sort of respect out there. People are just like, F you. I don't care. I don't care what you say. since it has nothing to do with me, I don't care. And that's what's just led us to not just moral decay, but like everything falling apart in a very quick manner. And it's not healthy because people are losing more than what they're gaining by being aggressive, by arguing, by not having a conversation, or at least understanding one another and trying to coexist in a manner where we're not getting into people's lanes, you know?
Yeah. My thought process is, let's say you try to put yourself in that person's shoes. Like, what triggered you or triggered them, right? To just get into that mode where, you know,
see, with this guy, he was rolling in 2 brand new BMWs with like 22-inch rims. So I think he was a dope dealer, but he wasn't a dope dealer in town because we knew who the hell was really pushing the big dope around this town. And the license plates weren't from this county or surrounding counties, you know what I'm saying? They were from down south. So I was just like, these guys are from definitely a different place, but I'm assuming that just because he was making that kind of money or whatever he had going on in his life,
maybe entitlement.
He definitely felt like, bro, like I'm untouchable. Right? Yeah, for sure, dude. That's what I think. That was the conclusion. And you know, we talk. My friend and I talk about it all the time. I'm just like, bro, we could have. You know what I'm saying? Let's say if we
would have started.
We actually blasted at them and actually killed a few of them or whatever. We would have had a life sentence right now. You know what I'm saying? We have a friend right now that caught 30 years on an attempted murder charge, and then being in the county jail caught another 2 years because he had a battery on a Leo because he wanted to smoke a cigarette. And they were like, bro, you can't smoke a cigarette in here. And ended up wrestling an officer, so he caught 2 more years running concurrent.
Dang.
Out of Polk County here in Florida. And I'm telling you, we've had so many blessings God has given us. He's currently not living in the state anymore, but I'm also blessed that nothing has crawled up on me on my past. But you know, I'm able to say that through conversations, through having control, focus, determination, and changing my ways, I'm here today on this podcast saying that it is possible to make a change. Whether your parents or your grandparents or people have their own ways of acting and dealing with things, that doesn't mean that you can't help them change and help them have different points of views and understanding. Maybe you need to stop doing certain things too for them to understand, hey, you know, it's not always your way. It's not always the highway. You know, there's different ways around it and different ways to conversate and make things work.
100%. Yeah. So learn from this guy's story because holy crap.
Oh, I could go on for days of things that I'm just like, bro, I should be in prison for the rest of my life if I would have solved it this way instead of that way, you know?
Yeah.
Because again, that's another thing. Conversations could start great. They turn into arguments. From arguments, they escalate to assault or anything past that, you know? So we want to avoid that. We don't want for nobody to get into those situations. It's like, look, I'm looking at Danny Trejo right now in the picture over there. Recently, when he went to a parade in a car with his homeboy. It was his homeboy's car. He was in the passenger seat, and I guess the idea over there was literally throw a water balloon to anybody you wanted. That was kind of like the parade theme.
That's what
so they threw it at the car, but they didn't know. They weren't even informed about it. So then he gets out the car. A guy gets aggressive with him, beats
much
the
younger
hell
guy.
out of like this dude's like 30, no more than 40 years old. Beats the hell out of Danny Trejo. And then
his homeboy comes out and he's another old guy. Bless him.
He got his ass beat too. And it's just like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? This is the times we're living in, so we need to watch how we talk to people. It's not being afraid of people. It's just being
don't let yourself be disrespected, but
and weigh things out and be like, what is more important, going home today to my family, to my friends, to my loved ones, or being in a prison cell for the rest of my life, or actually, you know, underground? You know what I'm saying? Whether if it was you being underground because this person did you, or you did them and you're in a prison cell for the rest of your life, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, things could escalate really bad. And we don't want that to happen. I think that, and even if it's just a regular argument, you know, there's ways around it, people. We are living experience of it, and on a constant basis, we're going to continue to go through these things.
Yeah.
We're not exempt from them just because we're on Bump Podcasts and we're talking about these things. They will happen. It will happen with different people. But I think at the end of the day, it's just like Nabil said, maturing, growing, and understanding the situation.
Yeah, 100%. And kind of want to leave you guys with this.
Yeah.
It's a quote that says, "It's important to make sure that we're talking with each other in a way that heals, not in a way that wounds." And again, depending on your situation, your circumstance, that could be a realistic thing. That might not be. But we have to make sure that when we walk into any single scenario, room, whatever, that we're more mature than the average bear. That doesn't mean you're better than them. That means you're more experienced, more mature, which then prepares you for whatever situation you might be in. And that's not saying that you're going to be perfect every single day. Excuse me, because neither of us are. But we certainly try to do our best, because you just never know. You know, again, it's like he said, like, you got to make sure that whatever decision you make, you know, no matter how heated the moment could be or whatever, you have to think about, do I want to go home safe and sound to my loved ones, or, you know, do I accept whatever consequence comes my way? And sometimes, you know, you might choose the opposite thing and the outcome might be all right, but, you know, you never know what could bite you in the butt in the long run. So for sure, here on the Bump Podcast, we just want to make sure that we set you guys up for success the way we're learning based off of our bad experiences and decisions, and then how we can turn that around. So, yeah. Well, we love you guys. We do love you very, very much. Thank you guys for tuning in. It was definitely a good conversation, a good podcast today. Definitely encourage you guys to share it to others. If you guys see this podcast and listen to it, please share our stuff on y'all's platform. Share it to other people. You know, give these blessings to other people as well. We want to hear you back from you guys at all times. So, like, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the ringle dingle dingle. Don't forget that. Every Wednesday we are uploading. Doesn't matter what day, what's going on, whether it's a hurricane, elections, whatever. Bump Podcast keeps on working and pushing for you guys. Yes. And let's keep rowing the boat together. Happy belated Veterans Day to all you veterans out there. We appreciate your service. Thank you for serving this country over there. So we want to thank you guys again for that. Definitely. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. It'll be until next week. Take care and see y'all later. Have a great week.